there we go. Oh, now it's legit, right? We got the timer on it. All right, yeah. So this is the Cliff Notes version of a much longer talk. For us old people, this is the Reader's Digest abridged version that your grandparents might have had of reducing trauma in production with SLOs and chaos engineering. Now, why is production traumatic, right? We heard a bit from Charity this morning. Lots of weird stuff happens in production. Users are weird. They do weird things with your code. You built this nice little comfy home for your code in production, and then it meets the users, and they're like, what the hell's this? I want to do these other things over here, and all kinds of things hit the fan. So we kind of lay out what we expect users to want, and then users want the things that they want. And somewhere in the middle, we come up with these unattainable goals, right? So I could rant about this for 10 minutes. We don't have that kind of time, but we gave ourselves this 5 nines goal at some point. Where the hell did this thing come from? It's not for you, right? It was for dial tone. That phone you don't have anymore. It was for a copper loop from your house to the central office. So when you picked up the phone, the internet was there. Because once upon a time, when the internet was all on the phone, recognize Running Man, all the executives came from telecom and then joined all the internet companies, and they brought us baggage with them. So it's not the 1970s anymore, and trying to build your distributed systems for 5 nines is super hard. You can do it, but it costs a lot of money. And why, right? So looping back to what the users actually want out of our ilities, reliability, stability, all those great things. We want to know what they want so we can set ourselves up for success. We don't want to wake up every morning and think, man, I'm going to fail because I'm not going to get to 5 nines, right? I want to set myself some goals that I can reach. And we're going to do that with service level objectives. So visit the Noble 9 table, talk to those guys. They'll give you the whole long version of all of this stuff. But your service level objective is some math about things customers like, right? They want things to be fast. They want it to work. They want it to be there when they want it, but maybe it's okay if this one module kind of drops out once in a while because they're not really paying attention to it anyway, right? So thinking about where we have a little bit of space to give our teams some grace. Instead of grinding them through that 5 nines grinder, and saying, oh man, this one we can step back on. This one we have a little bit more time on, right? So we can then think about, all right, we know the users kind of like this set of stuff over here. How do we test for that? How are we going to get to the point where we are actually meeting their real requirements and their real expectations? And that's where we can start doing some chaos testing. We can set up our chaos engineering practices to say, oh, we know our SLO for this piece of malarkey over here is this percentage, and we can drive trucks over that bridge and see when it collapses using some chaos testing. So we can hypothesize, and we can do their experiments. We get a better view of what the code's actually going to do in production instead of sort of theorizing it in pre-prod. And we can figure out, hey, we turned the database connector off for this service and it didn't tell us that. So maybe we're missing something in our monitoring, right? So it helps you fill in all of those pieces and really think about if your code is doing what you think it should be doing, and it's not off having a side quest somewhere else. And when should you be doing these things? We want to do them as often as possible, but we also need to be conscious of what is already sort of out there. If our service is already kind of wobbly, right? I'm not going to inject some fault into it and make the user super mad. So think about all those things together. It puts it in a place for you to think about what your users actually want, what that means for the reliability and the capabilities of the system that you have, maybe graceful degradation, maybe other kinds of red buttons and those kinds of things, and then you can adjust when appropriate. You say, look, we're still getting complaints from customers about this one thing. Maybe it's time to tighten that SLO. Or this one, they're not even using this thing, so we're gonna back it out. Right? So we want to make things better for ourselves, obviously, because we all really just don't want to be up in the middle of the night with stuff. But we want it to be better for the users as well, so they keep coming back to our services and we can continue to build delightful things for them. So I would love to talk more about this. Like I said, the folks at Noble 9 are also happy to talk about SLOs, and enjoy the rest of the day.